Thank you for joining us on our second edition of Clubcast. It's been a busy, busy week. I mean, we announced our Youth of the Year, Amy De Los Santos, from our Chuck Hill unit, who done a fabulous job and talked about some real stuff. We also were super excited about several vehicles we received this week, and I'll talk a little bit more about community partnerships. Just some brand new 15 passenger vehicles that are going to get our kids opportunities that they may not otherwise receive. Today, I'm super excited to have two special guests. One is pretty cool, our new incoming board chair, Leslie Christoph, who is the president of the Port St. Lucie Kaiser campus. And our other guest is no stranger to the community, the executive director for the Children's Services Council, Sean Boyle. Welcome to our second edition of Clubcast.
Thank you. We're excited
Well, I
to be
have
here.
to clarify, am I not pretty cool as well? You said Leslie was pretty cool, but you didn't say that about me.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry, Sean. You are really
I'm just
cool.
kidding.
You're
I'm
like a
just
really
kidding.
cool dude. Well, you know, what we want to be able to do on our Clubcast is have fun. We want to talk about the exciting things going on in the community. And we couldn't do it without you two. And as you know, there's another host of folks that just do a wonderful job for our community. But we felt that, well, I felt having you two on this specific Clubcast would work because one, Leslie, you are the new incoming chair. And I remember the first day I met you at class 34, right? The best class ever. Exactly. And I was like, oh, she would be an awesome board member. And we had lots of conversations, and here you are now. You're the chair of the Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County. Tell me a little bit about not just your expectations, because that can get kind of boring, just kind of just saying, here's my expectations of what I expect from the Boys and Girls Clubs, but really more from a passion standpoint for the next 2 years.
Yeah. So I do also remember a little over 3 years ago when you and I met, and you know, I never really got involved with the Boys and Girls Clubs, and you taught me so much and got me so excited about getting involved, because this is what we do is preparing our children for a beautiful and bright future. And how could I not want to be a part of that, being in higher education with Kaiser University? And so my time served on the board for the past few years has been extremely rewarding. And being nominated as the chair-elect a couple years ago, I took that role very seriously, and I watched Assistant Chief Rich Del Toro, and I'm looking forward to following in his footsteps. And I want to continue the great work that he has already, started. He has set such a strong foundation. We are in our 25th anniversary.
Yes.
We're focusing on some big things. We have the most amazing leadership team for the board, and we have a very engaged and committed board of directors. And so, I'm just thrilled to see us take it to another level and support the 25th anniversary this year.
That's amazing. And I was just thinking about, as you were talking, I'm like, you're not giving yourself any props, because I was just thinking this past year you also won Board Member of the Year, and you won one Board Member of the Year as well. And for me personally, when you win those awards, it's not a given. I mean, that's because you sacrificed your own time. I mean, outside of just working for Kaiser, on your off time, you give back to Boys and Girls Clubs. And when I think about the 211 award that you received, that wasn't just for St. Lucie County. That was Tri-County, and so Treasure Coast. So the work that you do is extraordinary. It's not just Boys and Girls Clubs, but the Ed Foundation and a whole bunch of other organizations throughout the community.
And I appreciate, you recognizing that, and I'm a humble person. It's not about me or the awards. At the end of the day, what are we doing to serve our kids? What
That's
are we
right.
doing to serve our youth, and making sure, again, that we are helping them to move forward and have the brightest future that they deserve. And so, of course, I appreciate the recognition. It's wonderful. But again, it's at the end of the day, it's about the kids.
That's right. And you know, I want to brag on Kaiser a little bit. When you walk in, I'm going to make you blush a little bit while you're on this stage with
Try
me.
it.
Is that okay? I'm working through it. But you know, when you walk on the Kansas, I'm sorry, I was in Kansas
Yes, I
recently,
know you were.
so I just
I
got
know.
Kansas Kaiser. When you walk on the campus, I'm going to tell you a couple things I noticed. One, I noticed genuineness. I saw a young lady, this would have been about, I never told you this, but I saw a young lady, she walked through the door, she was super excited, and I was like, why is she so excited right now? And she was waiting for one of the professors to come out so that she could tell the professor that she passed the test. And the professor gave her a nice big old hug. They were just it was a genuine moment at the campus. And I was like, this is what it's about. It's not about just taking that test or that exam. It's about building a relationship. And you do that with our clubs too as well. I mean, I've seen you have genuine tears about our kids getting up in front of groups of people and speaking. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that Kaiser also supports us financially, and it goes a long way for the development of our kids. So thank you for that, and I'm so looking forward to the next couple of years as the board chairwoman.
Thank you. I am too.
Sean, I don't want you to feel like you're just left alone in this big old world.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. But, you know, Sean, I met you when I first took over as the Boys and Girls Club CEO. And the one thing that, when I talked to Leslie about genuineness, the one thing I found with you is just you're very genuine. You have some priorities that you stick to. You're not all over the board with the priorities for our youth in St. Lucie County. The other thing that I really like about you and your team is you guys are out of the box thinkers. And sometimes in agencies, it's just one way and there's no other way to do business. But you guys have done some extraordinary things over the past few years that have changed the face of our youth development in St. Lucie County. And I want you to talk a little bit and even brag about a little bit of the things that you guys have done.
Sure, that's a great setup. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the time that we spent together. And if you don't know, Leslie, we get coffee frequently and have discussions. And so at the Children's Services Council, I know the Boys and Girls Clubs is celebrating 25 years, which is phenomenal. We are celebrating our 30th anniversary in October. And so we've set early 5 priorities. And we do that because, one, you know, our job at Children's Services Council is to make sure that the resources are available for families. And a lot of times that ends up meaning that we are funding programs. But I think what a lot of people don't know is, much to what you said, is we listen a lot and we bring people together. We bring partners together. We bring businesses into nonprofits, you know, through our reading initiative, for example. But we have 5 priorities that we stick to. And those priorities are, and anybody who knows me knows that I say this every single day, at least 5 times. Those priorities are, 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby. For example, in St. Lucie County, every newborn gets a nurse home visitation within 1 week of returning home from the hospital. That's just one of our systems of care for that, making sure every baby's a healthy baby. Second priority is stopping child abuse before it happens. I, in a past life, used to be a child abuse investigator, and I know the best way that you can stop child abuse is resetting one generation's way of disciplining and working with their child, because people parent the way they were parented, if that makes sense. Third priority, and this is where you come into play, is keeping kids off the streets, which means making sure that when that school bell rings, kids have a safe place to go. And then our 4th priority is keeping kids in school, and our 5th priority is keeping kids off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors. And because we are here, because the community said we want a Children's Services Council to be here, because there's only 9 Children's Services Councils in the state of Florida, and the community literally has to vote to establish them, we are very high on accountability. So, you know, we can track every dollar, but more importantly, we track indicators. We've been tracking 17 childhood indicators for the last 30 years. And I can tell you the impact that having a focus on children, and not just the Children's Services Council, but businesses, nonprofits, churches, those indicators, 30 years ago, we are better than the state in 3 of those 17 indicators. Today, we are better than the state in 14 of those 17 indicators. And we got those remaining 3 ones in our sights. So I'm proud to be part of this community. I'm proud to work with partners such as Leslie and yourself, because it doesn't take one entity to make impact. It takes everybody focusing on children.
You know, Sean, you're singing like tunes to my ear. I mean, that's what I like to hear. And, you know, one of the things you was, you know, we're speaking to Leslie and telling that we do coffee often. And I get an opportunity to like really pick your brain and really understand what this Children's Services Council, not only what do they do, but how far can we expand the reach of the youth that we serve? I mean, we know that there's over 50,000 youth throughout St. Lucie County, and we only serve a big portion of it, but we serve a small portion of the youth that need us throughout the county. And I know at one of our coffee sessions, we were talking about what is the need of the nonprofit, the after-school programs. What, if we want to move our kids to the next level, what are some of the things that you guys as a Children's Services Council could do to assist us in that? And we were brainstorming about a lot of things, but the one thing we came up with was technology.
Yes.
And if you could just spend a few minutes to talk about that, I think that would be phenomenal.
Sure. We recognize that all the after-school programs and really learning has all gone technology-based. When we look at STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Got it.
When we look at education, it's all computer-based. You know, the students are expected to get on the St. Lucie County schools system. I can't remember what it's called. The learning system that they're supposed to get on 45 minutes a week.
Yeah.
A lot of our programs are using MobiMax to track technology. And what we did when we inventoried our 16 after-school sites, we found that the majority of them were using donated equipment.
Yes.
And that equipment was like, I mean, literally running Windows 95. I didn't even know that still existed. You know, having those big screen monitors, and half of their computer labs weren't even working. So we and our board set a strategic short-term initiative to upgrade the technology for all of our after-school programs. So we sent a survey out and we put no cap.
Right.
And so literally in the last, between October and now, we have distributed probably well over 400 computers to our after-school programs to make sure that those students have the most up-to-date technology to, again, further enhance their academic success and learning in the after-school programs.
Well, I know when our youth, our teens and our kids saw those computers, they were like super excited about it. I want to hold that thought because I want to talk more about not just the technology, but some of the things a little bit more in depth of what Children's Services Council is, because a lot of folks might not know. They hear about it,
right,
but how is it funded and some of those type of things. So we have a short video, a short presentation of our outgoing chair. So I want to direct everybody's attention to that video, and then we'll focus back on what you were talking about.
Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to say, number one, I'm sorry that I can't be there for the Youth of the Year Awards ceremony. I love the work that the Boys and Girls Club does constantly. The work that you go out there and do with our youth, I've got to see it firsthand, the lives that you affect, the way that you pour yourselves, your hearts into our young people out there. I couldn't love it more. And on that front, to say, you know, one of my close friends, you know, looks like he could be my brother, you know, between you, Rich Del Toro, and Mayor Orvac. I think, you know, we look like we could be triplets or coneheads or something like that. But I just wanted to say the work that you've done with Boys and Girls Club, it's amazing. It's outstanding. A lot of it goes unrecognized, but you're making a difference in the lives of young people. And that's why the United States House of Representatives couldn't be more proud than to recognize you and honor you for the work that you're going out there and constantly doing with our youth. You are making a difference. We hope that you never stop. And this small token of your recognition, it's small, but to say the least, what you do is going to have ripple effects for not just this generation, but generations to come because of the way that you're out there affecting our young people. You're really making a difference, and I'm proud of you, my friend. I wish you all the best.
What an awesome opportunity for our outgoing board chair, Richard Del Toro, Assistant Chief of Police of Port St. Lucie, to receive that wonderful, not only wonderful remarks from a U.S. congressman, but the award. I know that if you follow Rich on Facebook, you'll see he got like 600 likes on this award. But more importantly, Rich has done an extraordinary job over his tenure as the chair, and it's definitely a well-deserved award. So if you get a chance to see Rich, please congratulate him. He will continue on the board, and we are very, very appreciative of his hard work and labor to the youth of St. Lucie County. I want to bring my guest back, Leslie Christoph, the president of Kaiser University, and Sean, I almost forgot your name again, Sean Boyle, the executive director for Children's Services Council. We were in some really cool conversations about, Leslie was talking, why she does the Boys and Girls Clubs and how we met and that sort of thing. And Sean was talking about priorities and just some really great things that Children's Services Council do in the community. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about Children's Services Council, because there are a lot of folks out there that really don't know, because as you said, those 5 priorities, what does it really mean to have an after-school program? Do you guys just give us money and then we just have at it? Or there's some rules and regulations around having an after-school program with the Children's Services Council?
And that's not true. We don't just give you the money.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know who we are, and we're working on that. Many people think when they hear Children's Services Council, they think we're the Department of Children and Families, because we get those calls. But we work behind the scenes. We're not a direct service provider. We prop up successful programs. And to be a successful program, to your point, when we fund a program, we fund on a budget, line item budget, and we don't just give you the money and say have a good year. We actually reimburse you each month, and we literally perform a desk audit on all 48 of our programs to make sure that the money is being spent the way it was detailed in the budget. And we do that because, quite honestly, it's not my money, it's not my board's money, it's the community's money. The way it's set up is we are an independent district, so we receive a very small portion of the property value dollars, and we in turn invest majority of that, if not 90% of that, into the programs. And on top of that, each program has outcomes that they have to achieve. So all of our after-school programs have the same outcomes. They have to increase or maintain the academic success of the kids that attend the program. The kids have to stay out of trouble, meaning juvenile justice referrals or school referrals. They have to make sure that the kids attend the school and can have no more than 3 unexcused absences. And they have to make sure that those kids are attending their site at least 3 days a week, because the research shows that if they're not attending at least 3 days a week, that program's going to have no impact. So we make sure that those programs follow those outcomes, and we do that for all 48 of our programs, and we work to make sure that they're successful. And if they're not successful after we work with them, then we reconsider whether or not we should be putting money towards that program, because we need to make sure that we're actually having an impact on families. I'm proud to say one of our internal metrics in our office, because I'm really all about accountability.
Right.
We set a goal that 85% of all the outcomes had to be met. Now keep in mind, we fund 48 programs. Each program has at least 4 outcomes. We came in at 91.4% met their outcomes. And it doesn't happen by us just watching. We are in there with the weeds with you, working and figuring out ways for those programs to be successful.
Well, it's cool because I get to watch like Sandy Mack and Jim, and Jim's tough on us. You got a good employee there.
Yeah.
I mean, they want to make sure that when you talk about outcomes, they want to make sure that the youth that we serve are really getting, we're not a school, but they want to make sure that there's some academics in there, that we're enrichment, enhancing the kids' potential. The other thing I really appreciate is making sure that the kids are in a safe environment. And that's very important. I know when Sandy comes and does his checks and visits, he want to make sure that kids are safe. There's not too many kids in one room, that that everyone is, having a good time, but in a safe environment.
Right.
And I tell you, over the years, in certain areas of the county, we've had some troubles, and while it's getting better, we still have some of those troubles. And we have law enforcement at each one of our locations to make sure that, one, that kids and law enforcement become good friends, good buddies, and two, to make sure that they're safe. And I know from one location to the next location, the law enforcement are doing a phenomenal job, and we get some of that funding from your organization.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because while we talk about those 4 outcomes, obviously the biggest one is when they get out of school till when they go home, they are safe and having fun. And just the fact that they're safe, that's kind of like the implied outcome,
Yes.
but that's very important.
Yeah.
And if I could share real quick, you brought up a story right before we recorded, and the reason why we want people to know who Children's Services Council is, not because we're going to be providing the service, but we have a whole network of programs that are available to all families. And you mentioned on your way up to record this that there was a mom downstairs who was looking for services for her family.
Yes.
And you were able to help her because she was looking for after-school programs. But there is a whole plethora of resources, and one of the biggest obstacles I believe that we have as a community is making sure that people are aware of the services that are available. So that's why we have a show, for example, on this same television. That's why you and I talk all the time about how can we get resources out and make sure that the people are connecting, so that when a family is struggling, they're like, I need help parenting,
That's right.
they don't go it alone. They know that there's a resource out there, or if they need health insurance or an after-school program, there are resources out there. And I always say it's up to us, meaning everybody in the community, to be aware. You don't have to be knowledgeable of everything, but to know that there is help available, because in a time of crisis, you're in crisis.
That's right.
And you're going to outreach to your neighbors and friends, and the more people that know, the more people can get connected to resources.
Well, I mean, that's a great point, and I didn't know it wasn't a prop. It just happened, and the mom was in panic. The mom was like, I got 4 children, 11, 12, 14, and 15, and it's like, what can we do? And I can't afford it. So because the Children's Services Council, we're able to do that. And obviously, we do a lot of fundraising. Leslie, you know that. And I want to just kind of shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about our 25th anniversary and what our priorities are moving forward. So you want to talk just a little bit about it? Maybe we can just have some open dialogue about
absolutely.
our 25th anniversary.
Yes, what's been really special to see is how this community is coming together to get behind the BGC movement here in St. Lucie County and support the 25th anniversary. Our 3 major initiatives, as you know, and I think the community knows, is our world-class clubs.
That's
making
right.
sure that the clubs are safe, as you mentioned, that they are state-of-the-art, that they're that they have what they need for their learning environment. Number 2 is life enriching programs. The computers that the Children's Services Council have provided is a beautiful start to that. We're looking at our existing programs and seeing how we can revamp those. What do we need to add to, again, better support them as they progress in their future? And then finally, transportation. Transportation, this has been such a fun experience to see the community that has gotten behind this particular initiative. It's been remarkably overwhelming. And we want to thank Art and Sandy Allen and Travis and Gina Leonard of A&G Concrete Pools, Southeast Elevator, of course, and GL Homes. And so we have several 15-passenger vans that are already in use, and children are taking trips. They were just at the Daytona Speedway.
Yes.
And so experiencing life, the real world, which is what we want them to experience.
Well, if you know, not to interrupt you on this, but it's been pretty cool. I've recently, because I spent a lot of time with Travis and Gina Leonard, and recently had an opportunity to go to Sandy and Art's house, and they were taking the kids fishing. So we get out here, and I thought I was going fishing. And then when we get out there, Art's like, no, you're not going fishing. Oh, and then the mayor shows up, and And he's like, to the Mayor Orvac, he's like, you're not fishing either. You're going to work with the kids. And I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to catch some of those big fish. But, man, I tell you what, he's got some big fish out there. But the experience that the kids had was remarkable. And when you talk about the community rallying around the youth, it's unbelievable that in the last 3 months that they bought us 4 15-passenger vehicles. The cool thing about them purchasing those vehicles is it's really not just about Boys and Girls Clubs. It's about the community and how we could share resources, how we could work with each other to better enrich our kids' lives. So, you know, kudos to the board of directors that push on the staff to make sure that that the 3 priorities that you mentioned we're going to be the best of the best. It doesn't matter if you live in the South or the North, but here in St. Lucie County, that our youth will get the best treatment and that they will know that they are valuable to the community. So I appreciate having a board that pushes on us in that regards. There's so many things we got coming up. We have our 25th anniversary that's happening on April 24th. It's going to be at the Mid-Florida. I was going to say the Civic Center, but the Mid-Florida Event Center, which is the old Civic Center. And so we're going to be super excited. You'll be happy, you'll be proud of me on this. I am pushing my team to have 25,000 people out here. We're celebrating 25 years. What better way to get 25,000 people out there throughout the day from 9 o'clock to 9 p.m., different settings, to really experience what Boys and Girls Clubs have to offer in the community. While we're there, we're also going to invite other nonprofits that could showcase what they're doing. I mean, we're going to have End It, we're going to have Lindsay's Art, School of the Arts. They do such a phenomenal job over there. If you ever see these kids from End It, what they do, what they bring to the community, will just knock your socks off. And then, you know, you have Lindsay's School of the Arts. I mean, they have a specific niche in the community, and I endorse and respect both of those organizations. So we're going to see them out there. We're going to have some really cool guest speakers that are going to be a part of the events that day. I am very happy that we're going to bring in the President and CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. He is actually flying in, and I think that's a testament to our community. You know, a person of that status is busy, and all the big towns, big cities want him in their locations, but we get to have him there. And he's going to be a guest speaker at our luncheon that's going to have about 500 people there, big supporters. So we're super excited about that. We're winding down. We probably have about 20 seconds left. Anything that you want to say, Leslie?
I just want to say, you know, you said that you'd be proud of me. Well, I'm always proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm always proud of your team, your staff. They're always focused on the right things. They work relentlessly to help these kids. And I'm so privileged to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Sean?
You know, I'm just going to echo that too, and I'm going to extend it also to Leslie. You and your entire board always thinking outside of the box, and always, always, always have children and youth on their mind first.
Yes,
we appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Well, this second show comes to a close, but we want to thank the entire community. You know, one of the things that we don't do so well all the time, and that's show gratitude. But every opportunity that we get this year, we want to show gratitude to you. So thank you, and see you next time.